Hey guys, it's Ryan from Peach Guitars here. We've got a very special guest in the Peach studio today. Bit of a modern guitar icon. We've got Mr. Mark Holcomb from Periphery.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming down, man. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I guess the best place to start would be with your signature model, PRS SEs. Got a couple of them here. How did that relationship with PRS start? How did you become a PRS signature artist?
Started pretty informally. The band is from Washington, D.C. That's where we sort of came up and cut our teeth and all that. And PRS happens to be extremely local to Washington, D.C. They're based in a place called Stevensville, Maryland.
Yeah.
And this was years ago. They were in I think middle stages of development with their high gain amp called the Archon.
Yeah.
It's a really killer amp.
Mega amp.
Yeah. And I don't think it's something they really had a lot of experience developing. Yeah. So I remember they wrote us an email and they said, hey, would the Periphery guys like to come check out the amp and help us voice it and see, not even really help them voice it, just to give them some feedback on it. And we drove down to the factory and we checked it out, and that's when I befriended Paul. And I think that was, and I'm probably going to butcher this, but 2012 or 2013 or something like that. It was a while ago, and I became friends, and it was very casual. I wasn't a PRS signature artist at the time, and then I got to know Paul as a friend, and then it kind of developed from there. The subsequent NAMM, the convention show in LA, we hung out and we got to talking about guitars, and he asked me, what I would do if I could just build a guitar with PRS, and I asked him what he likes in guitars, and it was just a really fun conversation. Yeah. And he said, well, what if I built you a guitar? And it's hard to say no to Paul Reed Smith.
Imagine, man. Yeah.
So long story short, they built me the first prototype that ended up being such a knockout guitar that we didn't change a thing. It just became I think it was the 2014 or 2015 US made, the core model. And they were happy with it. So that's kind of how it started. It was completely unintentional and just came from really friendship and mutual admiration.
That's cool, man. I mean, what were the key things for you going into the designing of this guitar? What features were pretty prevalent for you?
There were two things that I felt would be game changers for PRS. And I've always noticed that I find myself playing guitars with flatter fretboards more. With the fretboard radius is pretty flat. This is 20 inches. I just grew up playing shredder guitars, and Paul had never done a 20-inch fretboard radius. So I just like the feeling of being able to bend across a flat surface in a big way. And also the 25.5-inch scale length, which I believe the PRS scale length, the typical one, is 25 inches.
Yeah.
And a half-inch makes a big difference. Okay, that's a little sexual. Half-inch makes a huge difference as far as scale lengths go, because we utilize lower tunings in 100% of our songs. The highest tuning we have is dropped C on a 6-string. So if that's the ceiling, you're going to want that extra half-inch, and the rest of our tunings are even lower than that. So to me, I felt that would be a game changer from PRS's standpoint, but it was also something that I absolutely needed for my own job in Periphery. Yeah. So, and the pickups again were something that.
Yeah, these the signature Alpha and Omega ones.
Yeah, I developed these with Seymour Duncan at their headquarters back in, I think 2013 was when we did it, and they just became my favorite set of pickups on the planet. Again, Periphery, we're kind of all over the map stylistically, so you need to be able to capture, really pissed off, angry metal tones with the bridge pickup, but also be able to, throw it in a coil split position where you, in the middle position here, you split the coils and get something really tasteful. And the neck pickup is something of a unique beast in and of itself. And it's just meant to achieve just a wide variety of different kinds of tones. And again, you know, I've been playing these pickups for 6 years now, and never once have I had an impulse to switch or try something else out. It's just been not a game changer, a game ender. You know, it's just, this is what I have now. This is the pickups I'll probably play for the rest of my life.
Am I right in thinking Keith Merrow played a part in
that? He was, he's still a good friend of mine. He and I developed the pickups together. He and I tend to have pretty similar taste in tone. And he was working for Seymour Duncan at the time, and he said, hey, you should just come out and we'll just develop a set of pickups for fun. And I was not officially with Seymour Duncan at the time. It was just, again, kind of like the PRS thing, where let's just try and accomplish something new and fun and interesting. And that's what the Alpha and Omega ended up being, just something completely different than the rest of what Seymour Duncan is doing. And yeah, I think they're happy with it. And from what I hear, players who play the pickups, they're happy as well. So I couldn't be more excited.
That's really cool, man. I mean, so in that respect, from start to finish, this whole guitar kind of evolved quite organically then through...
Oh, for sure.
Just through friendships rather than a
definite, I definitely did.
Guitar.
Yeah, nobody held each other hostage or anything like that. For me, the bottom line for me was to have something in my hands that I could rely on every single night. And if other people happen to share the same taste, then maybe we put it out as a signature product. And I never thought that people would like it. And to see this guitar in so many other people's hands is just such a trip. Because when I think of tone, it's very personal and almost selfish. And to see that so many people share that taste, that's a mind blower. And it's revived my faith in humanity in a little bit, because like, yeah, we all like awesome stuff, hooray.
Yeah, man. I mean, do you use these models live as your go-to 6-string?
Oh yeah, I haven't taken out any of my USA models, the 6-string models, in 4 years now. So it's been a while.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I take out my US 7-string because we don't have currently a production SE 7-string for me yet.
Is that something that's potentially on the table?
I can't talk about that here, man. They'd kill me. But they would send an assassin to my hotel room tonight and smother me with a pillow. No, but the 8-string as well, I have a private stock 8, which I brought out. So those are the two I do bring out on tour with Periphery. But as far as the 6s go, I just bring a fleet of these. And I take one of these, take one of these, and I don't know if you saw, but I'm playing the ebony top one tonight.
Yeah, man, that thing looks incredible.
It's killer, it's killer. So I have now a variety of colors that I go to, so hopefully you'll see all colors of the rainbow if you come see a show.
Awesome, man. Now you mentioned the 7-string there. Obviously, I read recently that you suffered a bit of a similar fate to us with a private stock.
You guys had a private stock stolen?
We had a private stock stolen as well, a few months back. What's the story with yours?
I'll go first. FedEx delivered it to my residence, and it was supposed to be a signature required package, but they just left it there. They just left it sitting on my doorstep. And my wife sees the delivery notification online, because I keep asking her to check. I'm like, please check, please check. And it says delivered 2 hours ago, but nobody ever knocked. And of course, she opened the door and nothing was there. It's gone. But the craziest thing is that it was found a month and a half later. I get an email one random morning, a detective based in a city 4 hours south of me in Texas, like almost on the coast. He writes me and he says, hey, I think we have your guitar, call me. And I've never made a quicker phone call in my life. I rung him up, and he says that they found a vagrant, kind of homeless, dirty looking dude, selling it at a flea market an hour south of me. So he sold it for $200. And so the minute somebody saw it, they Googled it, because they were like, this is not a normal guitar. I mean, first of all, it's a 7-string PRS, and it had custom built for Mark Holcomb written on the back. And at the time, I had just spammed the internet about the thefts just to increase awareness. So the first thing he did was Google it, and of course the top entry was that post. You know, I think it was a Facebook post, and yeah, I mean, that's talk about, you know, they're still being good in the world. You know, I mean, I couldn't be more thankful that I actually got the guitar back. So you know, it's because of the internet. The magic of the internet.
I know.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys.
We haven't got ours back yet, but
what's the story with that?
Just a couple of guys just took it off the wall and walked out with it. It was we spammed the internet with it. We got a lot of coverage, and you know, a lot of people said a lot of nice things about it, but unfortunately, no, we haven't seen it yet.
When was this? Recently?
February.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
well, dude, there's hope. There's hope out there. You know.
Hopefully, someone will. But there, you know, it's going to be a hot guitar now, so
yeah,
a lot of eyes on it. But
for sure, it's a private stock. Those don't disappear.
No, yeah. So it's out there somewhere, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but really glad you got yours back, man.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
Happy ending to that story.
For sure.
So aside from your guitars, what are the other essentials in your rig? What makes that Mark Holcomb sound?
The fractal, I would say, powers the whole thing. Fractal is almost synonymous with what we do at this point, because I mean, we switch presets. We switch anywhere between 30 to 50, 40 to 60 presets every night live.
Wow.
So to be able to
is it all three of you rocking the?
Yeah, all three of us use the Fractal Audio Axe FX 2 XL Plus.
Cool.
Oh, that's a mouthful. And it's the brain of our rig. You know, it powers our patch changes in that they're automated.
Yeah.
So we don't have pedal boards on stage, and this is the cool part. We connect our fractals to a MacBook Pro on stage, and in the MacBook Pro there's a Cubase session, which as soon as we start playing, we hit play in the Cubase session. It powers our drummer's click track. It has all backing tracks, like synth tracks, like in Marigold there's a classical intro that lives in the Cubase session. But most importantly for the guitar players, it houses our patch changes. So we just put little MIDI points in a lane, and whenever there's a MIDI point in that lane, as the project plays, it'll switch to whatever preset we tell it to. So it's quite a cool piece of technology.
So it kind of takes the pressure off you playing live to just focus on your playing.
It requires a lot of work before a tour to sort of get it up and running, but the good thing is that once you do get it up and running, you basically don't ever need to think about your patches ever again. You may need to adjust on the fly if things come in a little early, things come in late, or if you want to readjust some of your tones. But no, it's completely changed the game for us, and I think we're kind of spoiled now. You know, like the how far that technology has come has made it so it's hard for us to imagine going back to amps, despite how fun it is to play amps.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, one thing about you guys that's always intrigued me is how do you make it work with three guitar players? What's the dynamic like when it comes to both writing and performing live? How do you get your own place in the mix, and how do you find a way to put your own ideas across when there's three of you?
I'd say the ultimate word is compromise, and compromise across many different planes here. Compromise as far as creative ideas, compromise as far as the business goes, because Periphery is a business. It's, you know, it supports us. It's our livelihood. It's our career, our occupation. So, you know, it needs to be compromised in that respect. Sonically, on stage, you can't be stepping all over the other guys with, you know, with twice as much gain as them. We want our tones to be all consistent, and they are, for the most part. Despite our pickups and guitars all being different, we use the same exact rhythm presets, sort of the meat and potatoes, the gent tone, if you will. It's all the same across all three guitar players, and really it's just about respect, you know, respect and learning to dial it back. Like all three guitar players, Misha, Jake, and I, we're pretty strong personalities, and we know what we like and we know what we don't like, and we have an extremely specific idea of what Periphery should be, and at the same time we have to be able to recognize that we can't make this work without each other, and so we have to learn how to dial it back and just live in harmony with one another. We're still learning, you know. It's 2018. This band has been around for a while now, so it's a learning process. But I think we've got it down to a place now where we can coexist in harmony.
Yeah. I read somewhere that it tends to be that Jake sits down the middle and you and Misha pan hard left and right.
Yep.
Does that kind of infiltrate into the studio way of things, or is that just a live thing?
Not at all. Not at all. That's strictly a live thing, and one that we found pretty early on was just kind of the no-brainer approach. You know, like Jake gets thrown a lot of the ambient sort of lead lines, parts that sit over the rhythms. Like if you think, for instance, the song "Light," Jake will play that, and me and Misha get the dumb caveman chugs. That's just what sounds best. And Jake has always stood in the middle of the stage. I think that's just by coincidence, and it just kind of happened to be that way, you know. And when we go to the studio, it's completely different because we're not. it doesn't matter who plays what, it doesn't matter who's panned where in the studio. We're strictly thinking about the song. Yeah. Whether it has one guitar part, like a song like Catch Fire, you know, in those verses to Catch Fire, there's kind of just one funk guitar. And I think some people asked me, when the album came out, they're like, well, where's the 3 guitar parts? But for us, having 3 guitars on a song on the record, that doesn't ever cross our mind. We're thinking composition first and composition only. Yeah. And so whether it takes 24 guitars to express that or 1 guitar, that's the bottom line. The songs come first, and then live, it's a challenge, fun challenge to recreate.
Yeah. Cool, man. What's next for you guys then? Are you
quitting? Breaking up.
Are you working on a new album now?
Yeah.
It's obviously been a couple of years since Select Difficulty.
We've been writing pretty heavily this year, and I don't know what the record's going to be called. We've been calling it Periphery for, I don't know. By the time this interview gets out, we could have changed the name already. But Periphery 4 is the tentative title, and I shacked up with Misha and Jake for a couple weeks in Washington, D.C., and we wrote a lot of music, and it's coming out very weird.
Do you tend to write collaboratively, or do you grow your own ideas? And
Periphery 2 was written sort of separately, but then we'd get together and sort of hone it all together. But ever since Juggernaut, we've been entirely collaborative and getting more collaborative. I remember Periphery 3, that was so much fun because we wrote it from the ground up together in a room. And doing it that way, I don't see how we could ever go back. And especially with the new stuff that we've been working on, it's so weird. We're writing some of the weirdest, most, I guess, non-traditional music that we've ever done, and it's just so outside the box. And I don't think we can achieve that writing on our own. You know, being around those guys sort of unlocks a part of me that, like, wow, there's something about being around guys who inspire me that brings out a different level of creativity. Yeah. You know, and it's something that I think is the most important aspect of Periphery, is the collaborative nature of the writing and how it's a team more than anything. So yeah, I hope you like it. You could hate it. Everybody could hate it when it comes out.
Pretty sure I'm gonna dig it, man.
We'll see.
Pretty sure. Yeah, and it's because you guys have just started up your own label.
Yes. Haven't you? 3 Dot Recordings.
So is this gonna be a self-released album?
Yes. Yeah. The nature of the band is changing completely since we left our record deal, and we decided to try it out. It's something we've been kicking around for years, the idea of having our own label. One, because we like the autonomy, we like the control. We have numerous side projects, so that also feeds into the desire of wanting a label. And here's the interesting part, here's the fun part, is we are such big fanboys of so many specific styles and bands and artists. Yeah. And it just provides us an opportunity to curate and to sort of stockpile these artists on the label and just have fun with it. We're not trying to get rich or even make money or anything. It gives us an opportunity to thrust artists who we think are really cool and unique and hopefully expose them to a brand new audience. So that to me is the most exciting part of it, is getting to cast the net to a completely different crowd. For artists who otherwise maybe would not have been heard. So it's fun, man. I'm so excited about it. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. Have you got a kind of a tentative release date for the?
Nope.
No.
Not at all. Spencer's writing vocals. So how it works now is we wrote probably about 70 or 80% of the music. Spencer's doing his writing, and then we'll reconvene in a month or so from now to sort of see where the album is at, and then we'll get to recording it probably September of this year. So we'll see.
Awesome, man. Yeah. I mean, we'll all look forward to that.
Thanks, man. I can't wait. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for coming in, man. It was a pleasure to chat to you.
Thanks, man.
Thanks for watching, guys. As always, if you like what you see, click the subscribe button to keep up to date with all our videos, and hopefully we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.
so much for having us.